listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Go. Stephanie, I have a question for you right off the bat.
Give it.
Do I ask you too many questions on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Do I?
Did you want me to think about it?
Yes. Think about it for a little bit. Do I ask you
Absolutely.
too many questions? No, I don't.
No, you don't.
I don't ask you too many questions,
You don't
right?
ask me too many questions. No.
That's not the question that I was going to ask you.
I don't accept any more questions beyond that one.
This
You should have
question
clarified.
is, what are you listening to lately?
What am I listening to?
Yeah, you and I listen to very different things.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to podcasts, music, you do a lot of books on tapes and things like that.
I'm doing one of those right now.
Never do books on tapes.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever listened to, I have listened to books on tape.
Okay.
I love that we still call it that, right?
I call it audiobooks.
Okay, maybe I just call it books on tapes. Old man Craig over here. But I don't listen to books on tapes or audiobooks. Or books on CDs.
Yeah.
If they were to put a book on a DVD, I wouldn't listen to it.
You wouldn't?
No.
No.
But what are you
What if
listening
it was
to?
Matt Damon narrating it?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, I would listen to that.
We now know how to get Craig to listen to audiobooks.
What are
If
you
that's ever a
listening to?
thing. I'm listening to Shameless right now.
Shameless.
That's an audiobook by a preacher.
Oh, this is the one you've been talking about, huh?
Yes. I can't remember the author's name though. Stand
Stand by one. Although we listen to different things, we do a pretty good job of sharing kind of some of the stuff that we take away from it. Did you
Yes,
get it?
we do. Hopefully I say it correctly. Nadia Bowles-Weber.
Nadia Bowles-Weber. Are you enjoying it?
I am, but it's like it's about taking the shame out of sex. And so she is a preacher that was hurt by the upbringing and how girls were expected to behave. There was like Christian charm school and the books, and it was just talking about how to make sure that you are not, what is it? Like enticing men, that you are not. I'm getting really distracted by you.
Sorry, folks.
Is it good?
If you're only listening, Craig is very focused on the audio. If you're watching right now, that's why I'm like off camera. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Keep going.
Squirreling. Keep talking, Steph.
I will keep talking.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
She was hurt, and she goes through and she tells her own story about her liberation, as well as other individual stories. And there's also a same book. I can't remember what it was called, but it's doing the same thing to guys, only it's teaching them how to be masculine and what real masculinity looks like. Yeah, it's terrible. So that's like sex is bad. Everything about it is bad. You're not supposed to want it. You're not supposed to think about it. Oh, and God forbid you masturbate. Huh, nice pun there, huh? God forbid you masturbate. Until you get married. And then everything's supposed to be on the table. So we've kind of like talked about this before on the thoughts of that.
Yeah, culture and society and everything like that.
And just how ingrained it is. So she was like taking the shame out of that, and she's telling stories. There was taking the shame out of being homosexual, about being sexual. She's saying according to the Bible standards, it was hard because it was really heavy on the gospel, all of those, and that is kind of triggering for me. So to sit through and listen to her declare how much love she has for God and all the powers, and like I knew the message was good. Then I wanted to hear her revelations on removing shame from sex, but it's also kind of hard. But I can see how, if you have that like really strong faith and you are a person that is just like holds, I don't even know how to say, if you're a godly person, I don't know. Religious. Thank you for that word, because I'm panicking a little bit. I'm also not done with the book. Yeah. So I'm trying to like summarize from what I have. Then being able to hear that, I could see how liberating it would be as well. And then it was giving me new insight. Like I knew I was affected by the church, even though I didn't go as much as you or as much as somebody who has been indoctrinated in it their entire life, who was going on missions. That is not my experience, but I knew it still affected me because we live in Utah and the church is everywhere. But the stuff that they were talking about, the teachings and how they use control and basically threats of everything. You can get stripped from your family and get stripped from the church. You'll, get stripped from God, to control you on that. It was just like hearing the stories and the way they would do it. It was fascinating to me. It was like pulling out these awareness of how still directly affected I was. One of the things she pointed out is how, according to a lot of the religions and the standards that they have, they can't even hold up to Jesus doesn't even meet their standards.
The standards of the religion.
Exactly. So all of this man controlled, and by man, it is men with the Bible, but I'm referring to humans, but that is a man controlled. That is a binary controlled element in the world, is the Bible.
There's some patriarchy in there.
There's a little bit. There's a little bit. I was like, I don't want to be all inclusive. I'm like, kind of though.
Yeah.
Kind of. So hearing about, anyways, we'll have to get into that another time. Let me finish the book so I don't turn people off to it before I finish it, so I can give an actual summarization. But it's fascinating. With you. It is resonating. It's fascinating. And she is the first religious person that I have ever heard speak that sounds like somebody who is speaking about universal love and source love. And she is still using that. It's not God will love you if you do this. Mm-hmm. And as long as you're this, it's like, nope. I haven't just heard somebody so blatantly say, this isn't right. This should not be taught. This is false. This made it like even the original sin. What was his name? Original sin came out from I'm thinking like Augusto, something like that. I'm going to have to figure what that is. But what happened is he got an erection in a Roman bath and was so ashamed that he found a way to twist everything. And that came the original sin from Adam and Eve, from Eve eating the apple that brought the enlightenment. And because she did this, then everything fell away. And because of that, then men were getting boners when, they weren't supposed to. You're frowning at me.
I'm not. I'm just confused.
Okay.
So I'm listening because I have some questions. But
I'll do the best I can with it because I just learned this information. So men were, without their fault, without their intention, they didn't mean to get an erection. They didn't mean to, and it was the fault of it came because the original sin of Eve, that now they are unable to control their bodies because of what she did.
Oh,
and then that stuck.
I see.
So that's how that even came to be. That's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
How are these? Anyways, so there's a lot more to go in, but I'm not ready to discuss it all now, obviously, because I'm not even halfway into it.
I get so turned off by religion.
Mm-hmm.
If I come across anything, even the silliest of things of dropping cards on the floor. Even when I'm
spilling on myself. It's fine.
Oh, fuck.
Did you just cut yourself?
I didn't cut. I'm falling apart 5 minutes into the fucking podcast.
You got this.
Even the simplest things, like when I come across an Instagram account or something like that, or maybe there's another podcast that I'm interested in and want to listen to. Mm-hmm. If it has, if it's clear that the person is Christian or religious, or, a lot of times it's if it's just clear that that's integrated into their whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. Then I'm just no, thank you.
I can't do it either.
And that's not right. I shouldn't be so, because the Mormon church just really fucked up that part of me, right? I know I have a general understanding of other religions.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're a thing, and I know some of them as far as what their practices are, what their beliefs are. If they're Christian, or if it's a Christian faith, then obviously I have a general understanding of it. But any of the Muslim faiths, or I'm showing my ignorance here, and that's okay. I feel embarrassed, but that's all right. I don't know a lot about religion, because
it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
That's okay to not know a lot about something.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Do I sound okay?
I think so.
In your head?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And for some reason, I sound way shitty on my end.
Oh,
But I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it's just me.
do I sound okay on your end?
You sound great. You sound super normal. It's
First
okay.
time I've heard that.
I'll just keep looking at the audio equipment. But I get super turned off. And maybe I should try changing that. Because I think that there's value in those people.
Yeah.
Like this is truth. It's truth time. Oh my goodness. Maybe I don't want to share this truth because it makes me feel super bad about
You don't
who
have
I
to.
am.
You can, and you don't have to.
We talk a lot, I think, on a recent episode. That's one thing that's like totally going to disappear 100%.
What is that?
Is our ability to recall what we talk about and when we talk about it.
What do you mean it's going to disappear?
Well, I had a little bit of like capacity to hold on to an episode and be like, oh, last week's episode. I have no fucking idea what week we're on or what episode. So
This is my realm. I get that. I think you're like, we're going to start to lose this. It's been gone.
if you're listening and you're a fan of our podcast and
Tell us what episode we're on.
send us a message and tell us what episode this is. No, but anyways, I'm all over the place. I think that people, this sounds terrible. I think there's a level of like head in the sand naivete if you are religious and believe in God or believe in a single higher power kind of religious deity.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to skirt around I think it's ignorant and I think it's stupid to believe in religion. So it's not that I think the people that believe in religion or believe in God are stupid. I just feel like oh man, this is kind of a really big bias in me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't like talking about it because I feel really bad because I know plenty of people that believe in God, right? And I know plenty of people that are religious and they're not stupid. I'm not saying that people are really stupid, but that's kind of, we've talked before about like the first thought that comes into your mind, right?
Yeah.
Like that initial reaction of whatever it is. Somebody shows you a picture, you have a first thought, or you think like that very first thought, that's mine, that religion is stupid and that people that follow it are like stupid.
Okay.
Well,
you get to say that. That gets to be what you feel.
I do get to say that. And I feel like I just ostracized like 90% of the world.
You might have.
And like I said, I obviously don't think that people are stupid that believe in God. I think for me personally, because of my relationship with religion and the Mormon church and this culture that we were brought up in, I have such a strong distaste for it.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting uncomfortable.
You're okay.
Oh, I know I'm okay.
I have my like hesitation when I see somebody with a strong, strong religious thing. Why it pulls me away is I think I can never, they're going to be hateful. They're going to be hateful based off of the religion. Like, you are good. They will be around you as long as you fit within those parameters. But pretty much our entire family doesn't fit that. And so when I see that, I'm like, I'm going to have to protect myself. I'm going to have to protect my family. Like, I will never show you this me. And then there's like people that we know with that religion that I don't show up for. I don't show myself. Like a whole bunch of parts of me, I will not bring forth because I know it'll bring hate and disgust, and you will lose friends, or Asher will lose friends. So when I see that, it's like, this is not something that is love. I don't get a sense of love there. Now, if you follow like all of that, if you are a straight person and you don't like, you don't talk about sex. You don't like so many things that I'm just summarizing. I'm not going to make fun of. And I started leaning into that jokey to lessen the tension because this is so uncomfortable, but I'm going to try and hold on to, what I'm feeling. But unless you are kind of like what that Shameless book says, the only amount of people that actually works for, is a very, very, very small amount of people.
What works?
The religion, the Bible, the way that they like have to live.
Oh, okay.
So, but it feels like unless you are living like that, you are, it's just not safe, and you're going to be hated and excluded and all of. So, I don't feel that connection, and I will move away from it. I can't show up in that space. So that's a hindrance for me. I think so much of it is just beyond cruel, and you see so many loving people, and there's a lot that are very religious and do not care about humans being humans. They care about people hurting people, but living your true life, living your best self isn't hurting people. Being true to who you are isn't hurting people. Not thinking the way the church tells you to think is not hurting people. So, so that's where I struggle with that. And I'm honestly, I wish I would have been given more options with that growing up.
As far as like religious choices?
Not even religious choices. Like, yes, religious choices would have been nice to not be so Mormon everywhere. Everywhere you turn, it's a Mormon. But the option that maybe like there's not a God.
Right.
The option that it's energy, that it's universe, that it's like, that there's just not some white dude up in the sky that's judging you for masturbating. You know, just that option. It's like, I believed so hard. So hard. And that was one of the things that I was scared of, is losing that. I didn't want to lose that. I wanted it to be true. I wanted that connection. I wanted to know that I could pray to someone and somebody was always going to be there. There was always going to be something that loved me and would protect me and was looking out for me. I wanted that God to be true. And I couldn't understand why God would hate when they tell you that God loves. And so it was just like this back and forth. And then having this little homosexual seed in me, like I knew from the beginning that I was hated, that I would be hated. Told Jesus wouldn't like things like, these are things that you're doing that God does not approve of. What the fuck?
Right.
Right. And so coming like to my own conclusions reluctantly and being so scared that, you know, I also didn't want, my kids did not feel like that. I always want like heaven and, you know, you always have somebody protecting you. That is such a comfort. I never wanted that comfort to go, and to realize that for me, what it feels like is this huge lie. And so it feels like a betrayal. And it was just painful that there wasn't more options of other people believe this. It was like other people believe this, but they're wrong and they're not going to heaven. They're going, you know, that is the pain that kind of comes with that. So I'm pissed for that, because I don't know. That was a hard one. And I don't even go to church.
Right.
And I struggle with that. Can you imagine if church was my life?
Right.
And it was like this, I know this church is true. And I was one of those. What torment that would be. Like, people need to have more options. Just know, more options. And it doesn't have to be wrong options.
Right. Right off the bat, when you started talking about what it felt like for you.
Yeah.
And how you expressed that, like, you didn't feel safe and you felt judged and all these kind of different things. That's that sparked it immediately. Why I have this mentality of like, people that believe in religion are stupid.
And protecting yourself.
Yes.
Protecting your family.
Because it was so much as a kid feeling super I mean, literally just felt so shitty all the time.
Right.
Because we weren't Mormon, and because, well, it wasn't even that we weren't Mormon. It was that we were like, because we were more, I mean, I was, right? My dad was Catholic, but my mom and my brothers, and we weren't practicing. And even when we weren't practicing, we like half-assed. We just went to church on Sunday. And that was it. And like came
That's
home.
a lot. We didn't do that.
Yeah. But I felt so ostracized and so judged. And so like, I mean, there were so many, I can count almost on every finger that I have 10 fingers, how many times I felt like just total dog shit by the way that people treated me and the way that people saw me. And what's really sad is I'm realizing now, I don't know if this is necessarily sad or not. I have 3 best friends from the time that I was growing up. I have a lot of really, 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 really close friends. From the time that I was a kid, and I'm still friends with them today. But out of those 3 best friends that I have, I can kind of only think of one that never made me feel less than because I wasn't active in the church. And everybody's family always did. So it may not have been the individual, but everybody's family always did. And then, that's not true. I'm going like way down these rabbit holes in my head because there's a lot of pain here for me, which is why it looks like it does today when I see somebody and I'm like, that person's stupid. Because I don't want to be judged by them, and I don't want to be ostracized, and I don't want to be like literally like looked down upon. Like when you look down at me, ooh, you're kind of dead to me.
You start looking down on my children.
Yeah.
Because they're not. Treat them differently.
Yeah.
We are enemies.
But I need to open up my mind, I think.
Yeah.
I think I need to recognize, I mean, I do recognize obviously that individual people aren't stupid. Just simply for believing in something. And there's got to be some value. I think about that too, where it's like, I see no value in religion.
Yeah.
And so it boggles my mind that so many people do, and that so many people subscribe to it. And I know that there is value outside of like, even if you're involved in some sort of church or community that's religious based, you don't necessarily, like, I do realize that there's benefits outside of like the teachings of whatever that belief system is, right? Because the community, the friendship, the, you know, having,
there's some strong bonds that happen in being there for each other.
Yeah. And that's beautiful.
And
that's a huge benefit.
Yeah. And everybody's praying, everybody's meditating together, basically.
Yeah.
Like there is a lot, but they twist it.
Yeah, they just
they twist it and use it for control.
Man.
And pain, that's where it gets. Like it could be a beautiful thing. It could be beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's sick. It's twisted. It's abusive.
That's our viewpoint.
It's trauma. That is our viewpoint. That is my viewpoint.
Right.
And that is a lot of viewpoints. And a lot of people have been hurt because of these things. So I definitely struggle with any religion. However, I'm listening.
See, that's huge, I think. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. To be willing to do that. That's very huge.
I've had a little bit.
Do you remember what sparked you to do that in
To
regards
listen?
to this book? Knowing that it was religious based.
I did not know it was religious based.
Oh, until you got into it.
And so I just tried to stay with it because I would really like to be able to further remove shame from sex, because I know that it does not belong there. And there's a lot of ways that I am liberated. A lot of ways that would get me stoned. Not by like marijuana, but like stoned to death. Like
Can't copy. Yeah.
Jezebel.
I'm on the same page.
There's also like that internal dialogue. So where I see things okay for other people, it's not okay for me. And then it depends on how far, there are things that I'm still just tormented over. And so anytime you have the chance to unravel those chains and get a little bit of freedom from that and be able to share that with somebody else to help take chains off of somebody. I mean, it's up to you. If you want to be covered in chains, do it. Like, you get to choose that. But if you're being tied down and weighed down and you can't breathe, I think the more knowledge we have. So I wanted that. And then I struggled with starting off with a prayer. I was like, what the fuck?
Do you think religion is always going to be a thing? Like
Yes.
in humanity? You think it's always going to be around?
Yes. Yeah.
I agree. It's probably like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad. I feel like I don't think we need to sit and bash on. I don't mind. Like, I love people. I respect people. I understand that each individual person is unique unto themselves. And we all get to think what we want to think. So I have no problem with that.
But we don't get to hurt other people for different opinions and different lifestyles and different beliefs and for being different than you or some writing that just is false.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a way to stop that. I'm not saying like religion, but like people are always going to classify each other.
Maybe.
So we're always going to kind of separate into groups.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You saw what?
There was a really good clip I saw of Mormon stories.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the guy was. I don't remember. But he was like, it's easy. It is so easy to change it. Like, this is damaging. And they go in and you can just say you got a revelation. And this is now the change. You have a revelation. God wants you to love everybody. God wants you to love your homosexual child. And then they can get on board with that. Mm-hmm. Like, first of all, how can you turn your back on your kid? Like, for God, seriously? Jeez. Anyways. But I was like, that makes, like, somebody can just choose to do it differently. But instead they keep doubling down on their hate and their control. So it is changeable. Religion does not have to be abusive. It does not have to be what it is. It can be beautiful. And whether there's a God or there's whatever, whether it's universe, but nobody knows. We all think we know. Nobody knows what the hell it is. I mean, is it likely? No. But is it a possibility? Everything's possible, right? Anything is possible. But if we could just like you're saying, if we can just hear the other side, if we can just not judge, they can throw down and say, everybody is welcome. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your class. It doesn't matter your anything. You human are welcome and we are kind. It could change so much. What would that change? Just to be kind. And they have the power to do that by one revelation or one, like whatever they say, God speaks to these certain people.
The Pope.
What do they call him in Mormon? What the hell is his name?
General, the president.
Yeah, I think they call him the president. I couldn't think of the word president.
I think it is the president.
It was the president. I couldn't even think of that. Something like that. I mean, and then like it is so easy to take out the hate and replace it with love. It is so easy,
yeah,
but it is refused.
You see them do it all the time with stuff, like just in the Mormon church. I'm sure they do it in other churches too, where they change doctrine.
Exactly.
And it's like, hello, like if we can do it, then let's do it.
Let's do it.
Right?
Yeah. If you say like this, it was so perfect. He said it like we said, we were wrong. We got this wrong. Or new revelation came through. They're going to follow you. So
I hope this is the fucking Matrix.
Okay.
Because I want to get out of this matrix and I want to understand the role that religion plays in society.
Okay.
I feel like it has got some purpose because it's so wacky.
Okay.
Right? It's so bizarre that we went from like an ape, a monkey, swinging in the trees, right? Walking around I don't need to describe monkeys more than that. We all know what monkeys look like. So
what do they sound like?
I'm going to do the howler monkeys.
That was so good. I wanted to make fun of you, but that was so good. I'm sorry, I was so back from the mic. That was way better. Do it again.
Do it again. I'll do it terrible again. I get these super good accents sometimes, and then Steph's like, "That's really good. You should try." And then I continue to try to keep it, and it's done. I get a sentence if I'm trying an accent, and then that's it.
Give me some sentences tonight.
Okay. I'll give you some sentences.
Maybe that's it for me.
That's
the
my
podcast out.
That's
we
my
got
O
something
face.
to do. That's your O.
That's my O face. That's what happens when Craig O's.
Okay.
What was I saying? I want this to be the Matrix because I want the answer to why the religion thing is a thing. Do you know what I mean? Because it feels like it has been around for a long time. It starts wars. It does all of these different, terrible, terrible, terrible things. Like it feels like the costs do not outweigh the benefits, right?
Yeah.
It's far more expensive to keep around than it's actually worth. But it's still around. And I'm like, why? Like, what is the purpose? Like you said, like, how could you turn your back on your child? Yeah. I could think like the worst thing in the whole entire world. I still love our kid.
Exactly.
Yeah. That sucks.
But they stop loving them and turn their backs on them based on who they love.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
Or what? That's just one aspect. Now it's a big one. It's big. But there's so much of that. It just, yeah.
So it must serve a purpose because it is so prevalent and because it is such a thing, right? I mean, our Western society is ruled hand in hand with religion. There isn't a separation, even though we like to pretend that there's a separation between church and state.
Yeah.
The day that the president of the United States isn't sworn in on a Bible,
right?
And,
then maybe.
And the word God doesn't take place in anything, then we have separation of church and state. Up until that point, they're fucking bedfellows, right? God's right up in there in the fucking Oval Office. And there's a huge chunk of, like, do you remember? I got to slow down a little bit.
Okay.
I got about 6,000 thoughts running through my head right now.
I got time for one.
Okay. West Wing.
Yes.
We're going back.
Okay.
Do you remember West Wing?
I do remember West Wing.
Okay.
Martin Sheen.
And in West Wing, if you have not watched that series, that's fine. Truthfully, that's okay. I still love you. You don't have to have watched West Wing. Game of Thrones, however, that's another story.
So in West Wing.
In West Wing, because Bartlett was super religious.
Very.
Like he was hardcore Catholic.
Over the top.
Right. Yeah. And it was such an integral part of that series. Almost like how did he balance his religious beliefs with running the country and trying to separate church and state from each other, right? You could describe that series as that almost. If
you could,
if
very
you
much
look at it from that perspective, right? One man's effort to honor himself and his beliefs, as well as, separate that because he's considering the people that don't believe that way.
Okay.
Like that's the thing that I wish more people did, was especially in some power role like the president or something like that, right? Just consider the people that don't think like you and consider them on the same level that you are at. Because I think oftentimes, just like I am looking down at people that do believe in God and that are religious, it feels like the same thing, right? I'm just mirroring what they're doing is what it feels like. It feels like they look down on the people, and the people that don't believe in religion or who aren't religious in some way, right, are less than. And we're going to make these big decisions for culture and for society and everything based off of this belief system, right? If we're like truly in a democracy, then we have to consider that not everybody thinks the same and try to make choices and decisions from that place rather than we know better, so we're going to make these decisions, right? Abortion, same-sex marriage, all of these issues that come up in our culture, religion has a role in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do we form society and rules and legislation and laws and everything else from the place of this is in place for every human, regardless of what they think, how they view things, like just regardless of anything, right? Because they might disagree with me about some things that I think are super important, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give them all the same rights that the people that think just like me get. But it's not like that.
It's not.
And religion isn't the only factor in that, scenario. There's obviously many, many other things.
Yeah.
But religion plays a really big role. There's a lot of really shitty things that have happened because of religion and the way that people have affected and influenced. And that's a nice way of saying like raped and victimized and murdered and all sorts of different things to people simply because they think differently. I mean, hello, the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Right? How much more of an example do you need of what religion can do? Right? Hitler wasn't acting that way or didn't make those decisions or didn't do what he did as Hitler because he was just like, he was acting on behalf of what he believed was correct based off of maybe not just his religious beliefs, but so shitty. So shitty.
Yeah.
So we're going to fix that this year. We're going to put that on our 2022 list of goals to accomplish, right? Double the podcast in size and heal the world. Copy that. Put that in that down, right? Heal the world.
Why not?
Anything else that you're listening to?
Just my classes.
Yeah, just all your fun astrology stuff.
Going back and re-listening to everything again and again.
What about, you just started watching the new Sex and the City.
Okay, or are we going to talk about that?
We aren't, because I will.
It's kind of a funny story. Maybe I should say it.
Let's hear it.
So, the journey of how I came to watch Sex and the City, the new series. I said it correct. Let's just move on.
I just saw the trailer for this.
Right?
The journey
in a world
where Stephanie watched Sex and the City.
You had, I was having a rough day. I was just like wiped. I was emotionally,
The
like
period was in full swing.
Things are catching up to me. A lot of things are catching up. And on top of it, my moon said, here you go.
The Red Witch was in the house.
And it's a good thing. I saw your face. Did you get a little scared?
Craig.
Anyways, you had left and I was excited about laying down and watching something stupid so I could go to sleep, just put something on. And I was trying to I couldn't see anything good. I was scrolling through and I'm like, I want something that's just enough. And then, sex is in the title. So I've seen a couple of episodes, but I'm like, they have movies. And
did you watch it back in the day a little bit?
Not very much. I've seen
maybe an episode.
A couple maybe at the most, and probably not all the way through.
Maybe a clip.
Maybe a sex scene here and there. I don't have that much memories of it. I didn't watch very much. So I was just gonna watch a movie, and then I couldn't find. I think I just found the second movie, but I wanted the first. Anyways, whatever. I thought that the new Sex and the City was a movie, and so I wanted to watch the other ones before I watched this one. But it was a series. And so then I was like, I'm not going to watch a series. And I went to find the movies and I couldn't find them. And so I was like, fine. And I almost started watching the entire series from the beginning just because I thought I needed to have context. And I was like, no, I don't care. I don't care. So that's how into it I was.
Okay.
That's my level of attachment to Sex in the City. I know very little about it. I know the big players in it because you can't, it was everywhere. But that was my level of attachment. What were you going to ask?
Was there, be honest.
Okay.
Was there some part of you that it was also like, I want to relax and I want to take a nap or whatever, so I'm going to watch something stupid and maybe masturbate a little bit to help me fall asleep?
Maybe. I don't know if I was going to masturbate, but I was in the mood for some sexy.
You're going to be okay with some sexy?
I was going to it wasn't like I was picking out, some PG movies.
Some
I'm
material.
I went through a little bit of effort to see if I was going to watch Sex in the City. So,
that's true. You did.
So I was also in the mood for that.
Okay.
Anyways, finally settle on it. Fine. I'll start the series. Gonna watch it. Don't really care. And they start off and it's kind of off-putting. It's this is why I never watched this show. This is so fucking stupid. It is so stupid. It is not my cup of tea. And they start showing, Carrie's relationship with Big, and it's this amazing love story. And they are just it is this love story. I've learned from the series that it was some up and downs. So if you watch Sex in the City and you're it was rough, I know now. But that's not what they were showing. It was just beautiful, and it was reminding me so much of how you and I interact with each other and just how hands-on and thirsty we are for each other. And we just we melt so well together. And flip. So it was clicking that. Now I'm emotional. There's a lot going on. I'm on my period. So I'm resonating with that scene. And then they spoiler alert, they killed him. He had a heart attack. I might start crying now. And then she finds him and he's still there a little bit. So he's looking at her with this fear in his eyes and she knows he's going. And I'm oh, fuck. So I'm almost crying. It's going to come. I am hysterical. I am crying so hard. My heart is breaking and I'm this is not what I want. And I look at the clock to see if you're going to be back from class anytime soon. And it's 12:10. Class starts at 12 and I'm So I'm hysterical. I'm holding on to your pillow and just sobbing for well over an hour. And then it's 1:30 and I'm okay, you're going to be home any second. But you were late at class because you kept going. So you didn't get home till almost 2.
That's right.
So I had 2 hours of not you soothing this thing from the love that reminded while on my period and falling apart, hysterically sobbing into your pillow.
This was also
and now I'm hooked and I'm watching it.
Oh, that's funny.
This is also the week that what?
This is also the week that cut out sugar.
Right. Things were going well.
It was a perfect storm. Your Honor, what happened was...
It was the no sugar challenge on the month or the week of my period.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
How did...
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, we survived. Some of us. Not everybody made it through. That's too funny, babe.
So... the fact that I almost started crying again right there. It was we're going to have to snuggle when this is over.
I was thinking, I got to stop saying,
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
It is not disappointing with the sex. So far, it's not all over the top, but Miranda realizing her true sexuality is fucking awesome. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
So you should go watch Sex in the City, the new series. Get past the first issue.
It also doesn't hurt that you have a crush on that actress, right? Whatever her name is.
Yeah, a little bit.
From Grace. That helps a little bit.
That helps a little bit. She's hot.
You're all, this is the best
this
series.
Is I'm she's in it, and she's
and there's gonna be some lesbian stuff.
Somebody shotgun me. Come over here, shotgun me, Callie. I'll call her Callie. It's fine. It's not her real name or name in the show, but she's Callie. Do you know her
actual name? The actress's name?
It's Sarah.
Jessica Parker.
No. No.
I've heard this one. It's Sarah.
I don't know her real name. Hold on. Callie Torres. Callie Torres is her screen name.
From
Grey's.
Yeah.
Sarah Ramirez. Ramirez.
Okay. Very cool.
So.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to be on the podcast? Totally want to talk to you.
What are you doing Friday? You want to come be on the podcast?
I couldn't. You would have to talk.
You'd be fine.
Yeah.
You'd be fine. We know that you're very, like, cool under pressure.
That's right.
I have this thought.
Sorry. Go.
You and I are made to last.
This is why I cry when they kill Big.
I don't want this to come off the wrong way.
Okay.
You and I have a lot of problems. I don't mean with our relationship as individual people,
You heard
right?
it here first.
I think we have mental health issues. We have emotional issues. We have trauma. I mean, it's a seemingly longer, like the list keeps getting longer for some reason
It does.
instead of shorter, right? We're
Yeah.
doing all this therapy and all this healing, and that list of our issues keeps getting longer.
It's like, oh, now we can see our shit. Oh.
Oh, you got mother issues too? Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Okay, yeah.
This is fun.
I'm glad. I didn't have enough room on this
Yeah.
fucking, but apparently I did. Fine.
Oh, that one hurts a little bit, huh?
Okay. So we have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And I'm of the mindset, because do you remember back in the day on the podcast where we would ask everybody what form of mental illness they
Yes,
have?
I do. All of them.
Because I'm kind of that mindset that everybody has issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody does have issues.
Yes.
But in my head, I like to think that everybody has the same level of intense issues that I have, so that I'm not alone. Like, I think everybody's fucked up, like really fucked up, like
Yeah.
I'm fucked up, right? And that everybody's got these issues. And we talk to people, and I know a lot of people, so that kind of feeds that mindset in my head where it's like, yeah, we're all anxious. And I don't just mean like anxious wise. I mean, we all have legitimate anxiety. We all have PTSD. Like, we all have these things.
Yeah.
So I think in my head that that's the reality of it.
Okay.
But then I had this thought the other day where I was like, what if it's not? Like, what if some people are actually normal, quote unquote, even though whatever that word is, right? But
They don't have all of, like, the level of trauma as.
yes, like, what if they have just, you know, like, are there people out there you think that don't have, that aren't really fucked up?
Come on the podcast. I hope so. I don't think so.
It seems impossible, right?
It does seem impossible, but what did we say earlier? Like, everything is like, there's room for every possibility.
I am acknowledging that it's a huge spectrum.
Yeah.
And that not everybody is on the really fucked up side.
Imagine what this world looks like to those people that are all right. They're like, what the fuck? They're the hermits in the mountains. Like,
But that spectrum, like, I feel like there's a really fucked up side and then a not so fucked up side.
okay.
But I think even the not so fucked up side is still on the fucked up spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think that's where everybody falls. I don't think there's a side of the spectrum that is normal and healthy. It's not like we go from the really fucked up side to super normal and healthy. It's just less fucked up. That's the way I see it. And I don't know if that's just to help me feel better about being so fucked up or thinking that I am.
Yeah, you're not
You're right. I'm not that
you're
bad.
not that fucked up.
Right. And neither are
Yeah.
you.
We have experiences in our lives that are I was gonna be like, we have some issues. Like, I try to say that, and then I come up with another word to say the same thing, just without saying you're fucked. 'Cause you're not fucked up.
You just have a lot of issues.
You have a lot of issues. You're working through some things, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So, like, it comes back around of, yeah.
I think everybody is, though.
I mean, I kind of do.
I was thinking that what we should do is do some polls on Instagram.
Yeah.
And just like simple polls of like, do you have anxiety?
Okay.
Do you have depression? Do you have PTSD? Right? And just kind of gauge and see what people respond, especially when it's kind of in those anonymous polls in the stories and stuff like that.
So they can answer without.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like.
How many people like. Okay.
See, this is the thing why I feel like everybody does. Because I think everybody does because we are suddenly aware of it. It's like we were joking earlier where the more we do all this therapy, that list of the things that we have wrong with us gets longer because we become more aware of it. And 50 years ago, they weren't really focused on mental health.
Yeah.
It was almost on the outside of things, right? Psychiatry, therapy was kind of on the outside of society.
Well, it's still like a crime. It was a crime. You'd get locked up. You'd be put away. Like
For being a therapist?
Oh, having mental illness.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
schizophrenia. Yeah. But
You were like, where are you getting your information?
they didn't lock up therapists. That's a scary world. Are you trying to help people?
Get out of here.
What was I saying? Oh, but I think that the reason why everybody's on this fucked up scale is because we are aware of it. And it is becoming more and more and more and more normal to accept and realize and understand that you have some issues.
So it's going from you're not fucked up, we're in this together. So individualizing and you're fucked up because there's all these normals like the you're fucked up is going away. We're all seeing it, stepping out together, and we're all in it together.
Yeah. Because if you think about it like that, spectrum.
Or is that not what you meant?
No, that's what I meant. But like the fucked up spectrum, right, has been here forever.
Yeah.
It's not like something that I just created, even though I just created it with my hands. It's right there. You can see it. It's the fucked up spectrum. But it's been it's been around as long as we have been around, right?
Yeah.
And we just didn't realize it because of the way that the normal things exist. So if you think about trauma, fight or flight, hunter-gatherer time period, we're just in a continual state of trauma because we're so activated all the time because we're constantly fighting or fleeing or killing. You know what I mean? That's life. So you're not aware that there is, quote unquote, something wrong with that. And there's probably not anything wrong with that, right? I bet you our bodies probably kind of operated the same way that they do today because...
Oh no. What happened? Did you get lost?
Really hard, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that thought was really hard. Okay, let's bring it back to what am I talking about?
That it's just we're not so fucked up, or it seems like everybody's so fucked up just because we have awareness of it now.
Yes.
We all see it. And so now
exactly.
It's like when they discover something new and it's this new thing and then they start to see it. So then it's everywhere and they didn't notice it before.
Yeah. And we've always been fucked up. We just weren't aware of it. So it was the cursory out. It was like the outskirts of society was where fucked up people were. And also like the acknowledgement that, you know, it's like, yeah, you're just schizophrenic. What are we going to do? Sorry, that sucks. Good luck. That's a brain thing. Instead of like, oh, that's actually something that could have been, you know, that person's probably got a lot of trauma in their life that led to their schizophrenia or whatever it may be. Their depression, their anxiety, their PTSD, all of these different things, all the coping mechanisms.
And there are things to be done.
Right.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
There is support. There is help. There is options. Not you're just, to bring it back around, you're just fucked up.
Yeah. I like the freedom that comes from just realizing that I'm fucked up, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, that's my choice of words, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, so once I was able to kind of get to a certain point in the process, it gave me a sense of relief. Prior to that, though, it did not.
Yeah.
Like owning that I have anxiety, owning that I have...
You got there way before I did.
But owning those things gave me relief from them in some regards.
That's really cool.
It didn't obviously, you know, rid me of those things, but it wasn't a rock around my neck.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I was, you know, beating myself up for or feeling like I was a failure for, or that I just needed to really figure out how to get this shit together so that I didn't have these things anymore and blah, blah, blah. List just goes on. And once I was just like, oh yeah, I totally have anxiety. Like legit total anxiety. Like I get super fucking panic attacked and, you know, all these different things. Suddenly it was like, just a relief for me.
That's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it similar for you at all? Because you've
No.
owned up to a lot of stuff lately.
I have. Mine wasn't an easy journey. Mine was I did not want to not only have anxiety and CPTSD and depression and all the things. I did not want to admit it. I didn't want that known. I didn't want it seen. Not only because, I had some shame for it. And I can see that now. I couldn't see that at the time. And it wasn't the driving factor. The driving factor was that I did not want people that had hurt me to know that. Because I didn't want them to think that any fucking thing that they had done had any lasting effect. I was not going to let them win. I was stronger than anything they did. And so by having these things meant that I was still hurt. And to me, that meant that they were still winning. They were still taking. And I was like, fuck that. So, no, mine was really, really hard. I was like, I don't have that. 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 Two, I do. But they're not taking anything from me still. That doesn't mean that they win. That means that I don't know what that means, honestly. I don't know yet. I haven't figured that part out yet. But I'm giving myself permission to heal and permission to feel the things. Actually, I'm not. My therapist is. She's helping me so much. And she's like, Stephanie, the amount of trauma in your life. So I needed support in that. I couldn't have come to that conclusion by myself. I needed support. So I'm grateful and lucky that I have someone supportive like you in my life, and that I have an amazing therapist who is helping me accept all the things about me and having it be okay. But just the awareness liberating me. My experience is a little different. But I love to no end that is what it feels like for you. That's beautiful. That's the goal right there, I think.
I don't know if it's the goal.
Man.
The goal, I think, would be really nice to stop making kids and giving them shit to get over.
Right.
Don't stop making kids. We need to keep making kids, but let's not give them shit to get over.
Right.
That should be the goal. Let's not traumatize our eggs and sperm so that we then make traumatized kids with traumatized parts. Right?
Yeah.
Because our shit's literally getting fucked up even before kids are even on the radar.
Yep.
Back to what you were saying about not wanting to let them win, right? You weren't going to give any of the people that have hurt you over the course of your life any sense of satisfaction, like they had any lasting damage on you.
Yeah.
I would argue that
one's hard.
By owning and accepting your issues, you are winning, because the level of strength that it takes to do that, I think, is a really clear sign that none of them won.
Yeah.
None of them.
Thank you.
You did, by the ability to get to this point in your life and be strong enough to own anxiety, CPTSD.
I believe that now.
Yeah.
It's still hard, but I believe that now.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah. Thank you for saying it.
Thank you you're welcome. You're fucking welcome.
Thank you.
I love loving you.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
I relate that so much.
Loving you is fun and it feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that. For you. And now I'm like, yeah, I get that. Loving me is fun.
You're a very cool person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's wrap up.
Okay, well,
On that note, is there anything you'd like to close out with, Stephanie? Anything? Any final parting words?
I've got one phrase in my head and I can't say it. It's our old closing statement.
What was that?
Do you not remember? Or you're tricking me to say it, you stinker. I almost did.
Fucking mind games up here. I'm playing on 16 different levels right now, baby.
I was like, really? You don't remember?
Producing this show, co-hosting this show, taking notes on this show, and
I can't manage to take a drink without spilling on myself every time.
Thank you, everybody. So much wonderful, beautiful support for the podcast as of late, and we can't thank you enough. If you're a brand new listener, maybe this was your first episode, welcome. My name is Craig. That is Stephanie. We are the hosts of this said podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We ask everybody that listens and everybody that we meet, literally, we just walk around asking people this. Just share the podcast with somebody. Let them know about this show, this podcast, if it's something that you find beneficial, useful, in any way, shape, or form. Please, that's all we ask, is just share it with somebody. And you could do a bunch of other things too, like support us on all the different social media channels and subscribe and review and all those things too. We would definitely appreciate that as well. Yeah, we'll see you soon. I was going to say something like,
in the future.
What was Lincoln's 77 years ago?
Okay.
We'll probably see you sooner than that. Okay. Let's do some pretty smiles.
Okay. Hold on. I think I was slouching the whole time. You did. Was that not my pretty smile? That's my nervous smile.
Oh my god.
Oh no. I'm panicking now. I don't.
That was so good.
How?
I was going to end the
You're not going to get a
podcast
smile
before
picture.
that, but we got to leave that in.
No.
Okay.